Every day, we wake up with a choice to drift through life or to show up with intention. We may not always feel strong, we may not always feel ready, but the one thing we always have control over is the effort we bring to the moment. Life won't always go the way we planned. Circumstances shift, people disappoint, and progress can feel painfully slow. But here's the truth. What matters most isn't how perfect the outcome is. It's how present, committed, and consistent you are in giving your best. Today I'm going to remind you of a truth many people forget. You don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to do the best you can with what you have, where you are. That kind of attitude builds confidence. It earns respect. And most importantly, it gives you peace at the end of each day. So if you've ever felt like your best isn't enough, or you're tired of trying without seeing instant results, this message is for you. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I walk you through 15 powerful truths that will help you rise stronger, live better, and keep showing up no matter what. Let's dive in. Number 1, start where you are. Too many people are waiting for the perfect moment to begin. They think they need more money, more confidence, more clarity, more support. But life doesn't reward those who wait for ideal conditions. It rewards those who start with what they've got and grow along the way. You don't need the best tools, the best timing, or the best plan. What you need is a decision. The decision to start, here and now. We often think greatness comes from being fully prepared. But the truth is, most people who succeed begin before they feel ready. They take a step, then figure out the rest as they move. They fall, they learn, they adjust. But they keep going. Because starting creates momentum. And momentum is what makes impossible things feel possible. You can't let your current situation stop you. Maybe you don't have the support you wish you had. Maybe you're carrying fear, doubt, or a long list of past failures. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what you choose to do now. Your present reality is not your permanent identity. And the only way to change your future is to act in the present. Regardless of how messy or imperfect it feels. Start messy. Start scared. Start small. But start. The people who win in life are not the ones who waited for permission. They're the ones who got moving when everything in their life told them to pause. They chose progress over perfection, action over excuses, and heart over hesitation. Doing the best you can doesn't mean waiting until everything's in place. It means showing up even when things are uncertain. It means trusting that the process will mold you, even if the beginning feels shaky. This mindset doesn't just push you forward, it transforms you from the inside out. You stop seeing obstacles as stop signs and start seeing them as invitations to grow. So if you've been waiting for the perfect time, let this be your sign. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And watch how the door opens. Not all at once, but step by step, as you keep walking through it. Your best life doesn't begin someday. It begins today, right here, right now. Number 2, progress over perfection. One of the biggest lies holding people back is the idea that everything needs to be perfect before it's worth doing. That unless the plan is flawless, the timing ideal, and the results immediate, it's better not to begin at all. But let me ask you, how many dreams have died in the graveyard of perfectionism? How many people delayed their goals, their growth, and their greatness because they were too afraid of getting it wrong? Here's the truth. Perfection is not only unrealistic, it's a trap. It keeps you frozen. It convinces you that mistakes are something to avoid instead of something to learn from. But the people who move ahead in life aren't the ones who do everything right. They're the ones who stay in motion. They build brick by brick, even if a few bricks are crooked. They understand that progress, not perfection, is what leads to mastery. You want to grow? You want to level up? Then you have to be willing to be bad at something before you get good at it. You have to be willing to start messy, to stumble, to release the need to impress, and instead focus on improving. When you make progress your goal, every step counts. Every attempt becomes valuable, even the ones that don't go as planned. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall, they wobble, they bump into things, but do they stop? No, because falling is part of learning. That same logic applies to you. Don't wait until you feel perfect to take action. Don't judge your early efforts harshly. Instead, celebrate that you're moving, you're trying, you're growing. Here's something powerful to remember. When you focus on progress, you stay committed longer. You give yourself grace in the process. You learn to enjoy the journey, not just chase the destination. And that's where the real transformation happens. Not in the final result, but in the daily effort, the repeated choices, the quiet determination to be just a little better than yesterday. Now, does that mean you won't feel frustrated? Of course not. Growth is uncomfortable. You'll have days when you feel stuck or question yourself. But those are the exact moments when choosing progress over perfection will set you apart. Perfection asks, is this good enough? Progress asks, did I give it my best today? That one shift in thinking can change your life. So let go of the pressure to be flawless. Let go of the fear of being judged. What matters is not how polished you look, but how far you're willing to go. Just keep moving forward, imperfectly, relentlessly, and with heart. Every step you take makes you stronger, sharper, and more capable. And in the end, it's not the perfect ones who rise, it's the persistent ones. Make progress your standard, and watch how your life begins to change. Number 3. Do the small things with great effort. People often believe that success is found in grand gestures, in massive breakthroughs, big opportunities, and impressive wins. But the truth is, greatness isn't built in bursts. It's built in moments. Small moments, quiet choices, ordinary tasks done with extraordinary effort. That's where the real magic happens. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows where consistency lives. You see, it's easy to bring your best when the stakes are high or when the world is watching. But doing your best when it feels boring, when no one is clapping, when the reward isn't instant, that's where character is formed. That's where confidence is developed. The small things might seem insignificant today, but over time they become the foundation of something massive. Think about it. How do elite athletes become great? It's not just the championships or the medals. It's the early morning workouts, the strict discipline in diet, the thousands of unseen reps. How do successful leaders rise? Through hours of reading, thinking, refining, and practicing, long before they stand at the top. The same rule applies to your life. The way you answer that email, the way you clean your workspace, the way you show up to a meeting, even when you're tired. Those things matter. The effort you put into the small things reflects your mindset. When you treat the little tasks with excellence, you train yourself to treat the big ones with even more power. When you cut corners on the small stuff, you condition yourself to do the same when it counts. This is why giving your best, even in things that seem routine, becomes your secret weapon. Because here's the thing, someone's always watching. It might be your future employer, it might be your future self, or maybe, just maybe, it's life testing your commitment, asking, can you be trusted with more? And when you respond by giving your best to what's in front of you, no matter how small, you start building the kind of person who's ready for more. Never underestimate the compound effect of small efforts done consistently. 5 focused minutes a day reading can change your mindset. One small act of discipline repeated can rebuild your self-respect. A kind word spoken every morning can transform your relationships. It doesn't take massive action. It takes meaningful, repeated effort. So stop waiting for some grand opportunity to prove yourself. Your opportunity is already here, in the little things. How you do the simple tasks says more about your future than any speech or dream board. Show up, care deeply, work diligently. Do the small things with great effort, and soon enough the big things will follow. That's how you create a life that demands respect, one focused, disciplined step at a time. Number 4. Your effort is your signature. Every single day you're leaving behind a trail, proof of who you are and how you operate. You leave it in your attitude, in your actions, and especially in your effort. Whether you're aware of it or not, your effort is writing your name on everything you touch. That's why it matters so much. Because in a world where results can fluctuate and outcomes are often out of your control, effort is the one thing that always belongs to you. Think about this. When you look at someone's work, their discipline, their consistency, their willingness to go the extra mile, you don't need to ask how serious they are. You can feel it, you can see it in the details, in the quality, in the care they bring to what they do. Effort doesn't hide, it shows loudly. And that's why it becomes your personal stamp. It tells the world, this is how I operate. This is the standard I live by. The beautiful thing about effort is that it requires no talent, no permission, and no perfect circumstance. Anyone can bring it, but very few do. Most people are looking for shortcuts, the easy way, the minimum required. But when you commit to doing your best, when you make effort your trademark, you set yourself apart instantly. You earn trust. You build momentum. And most importantly, you build pride in who you're becoming. You might not be the smartest in the room. You might not have the most experience or the biggest resources. But if you show up with unmatched effort, you level the playing field. Because the truth is, most people quit long before they ever find out what they're capable of. But not you. Not if you decide that your effort is non-negotiable. No matter how you feel, no matter who's watching, and no matter what the outcome is. And yes, there will be days when it feels like your hard work is going unnoticed. When it feels like you're giving your all and getting little in return. But don't let that discourage you. Because every drop of effort is planting a seed. Maybe the results aren't instant, but the integrity you're building that sticks, that lasts. And eventually that effort will speak louder than any excuse or explanation ever could. So treat everything you do like it has your name on it, because it does. The way you show up to the little things echoes into everything else. Don't leave your mark halfway. Don't settle for just getting by. Show up with pride. Push yourself with purpose. Let your effort speak so clearly that you never have to explain your worth. You just live it. Your effort is your signature. Make sure it's one worth remembering. Number 5. Stop comparing. Start contributing. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to drain your energy and destroy your momentum. You look left, you look right, and suddenly your own progress doesn't feel like enough. You start questioning your pace, your talent, your worth. But here's the truth. Comparison is a distraction. It shifts your focus from growth to insecurity, from purpose to pressure. And worst of all, it makes you forget the power of your own unique contribution. You were not put here to copy anyone. You were put here to contribute, to offer something the world has never seen before. Your best. But when you're busy measuring your journey against someone else's highlight reel, you lose sight of the work you were meant to do. You start chasing someone else's path instead of walking your own. It's easy to fall into the trap. Social media makes it worse. Every scroll shows someone's success, someone's perfect moment, someone's shiny achievement. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing that their life is the standard and your progress doesn't count. But remember, you don't see their failures, their struggles, or their doubts. You only see the final product, not the process that built it. So shift your mindset. Instead of comparing, contribute. Put your energy into becoming better, not bitter. Focus on creating something of value, no matter how small it feels. Your voice, your effort, your work, it all matters. The moment you stop trying to be like them and start becoming more of you, everything begins to change. You'll find clarity, you'll feel peace, and most importantly, you'll start to feel proud, not because you're ahead of someone else, but because you're finally showing up with purpose. The only race worth running is the one against who you were yesterday. That's it. Did you grow today? Did you give your best effort? Did you show up with integrity? That's the real scoreboard. Everything else is noise. People don't remember the ones who were busy copying. They remember the ones who brought something real, something bold, something true. And you can't do that while living in the shadow of someone else's success. You've got to step into your own light. Own your story, own your pace, and trust that your best will open the doors that are meant for you. So stop comparing. Stop wondering if you measure up. You already do when you show up with honesty, heart, and hard work. This world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the real you, doing your best, right where you are. That's how you make a difference. That's how you contribute. And that's how you win. Number 6. No one sees the hours, but they see the results. There's something important you need to understand about success. It's rarely visible in the beginning. People won't see the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, or the silent battles you face behind the scenes. They won't know about the days you pushed through exhaustion or the moments you wanted to quit, but didn't. What they will see is the result. When you finally rise, when you start winning, when your work begins to pay off, then they'll notice. Then they'll call you lucky, talented, or gifted. But they won't talk about the grind. They won't mention the hours you put in when no one was clapping. And that's okay. Because you're not doing this for recognition. You're doing this to become someone you respect. The truth is, greatness is built in silence. Champions are made in the unseen hours. While others are resting, you're working. While they're distracted, you're focused. While they wait for motivation, you're driven by purpose. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it's powerful. And over time, it creates a strength that can't be faked. You have to learn to be comfortable being unnoticed for a while. You have to accept that your effort might not be appreciated or understood at first, but you keep going anyway. Because deep down, you know what you're building. You know that every rep, every revision, every repetition is sharpening you into someone stronger, more capable, and more resilient than you were yesterday. The reward doesn't come instantly, but it does come. One day, someone will look at your success and wonder how you got there. And you'll know the truth. It wasn't one big move. It was 1,000 small decisions to stay disciplined, to stay committed, to keep showing up. The hours mattered, even if no one saw them. So don't let the silence fool you. Don't let the lack of applause make you question your path. Just because it's quiet now doesn't mean the work isn't working. Keep building, keep pushing, keep improving. Your future self will thank you for every unseen hour you invested today. The spotlight is never promised, but the result of your discipline always shows up. You won't need to explain it. You won't need to prove anything. The results will speak for you, loudly and clearly. So today, commit to doing the work no one sees. Trust that every drop of sweat, every moment of effort is bringing you closer to the life you want. Because in the end, you won't be remembered for how loudly you worked. You'll be remembered for what your work produced. Number 7, energy, not excuses. Excuses are easy. They're always available. Too tired, too busy, too hard, not the right time. But every excuse you make quietly robs you of the life you say you want. It doesn't steal it all at once. It chips away at it, little by little. And before you know it, you're left with regret, wondering where the days went, where the opportunities went, where the drive went. That's the price of choosing excuses over energy. You see, energy is a decision. It's not just a feeling. It's a mindset. You may not feel fired up every morning. You may not feel motivated every hour, but you can still choose to bring energy to the table. You can choose to move, to focus, to show up like it matters because it does. And that choice, repeated over time, changes your whole trajectory. People think successful individuals have some endless supply of motivation. They don't. What they have is the discipline to act with energy, even when they don't feel like it. They've trained themselves to respond to challenges with commitment instead of complaints. And that's something you can do too. Every time you bring energy, you silence an excuse. You overpower it. You take back control. And the more you practice this, the stronger that mindset becomes. Eventually, you stop looking for reasons why you can't, and you start creating reasons why you must. There's a big difference between being tired and being drained by your own excuses. One is physical. Your body needs rest. The other is mental. Your mind is retreating from discomfort. Learn to tell the difference. Because sometimes what you need isn't another break. It's a reason to rise. A reason to step into your day with energy, knowing that you're not always going to feel ready, but you can always choose to be responsible. Energy creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. And confidence leads to more action. It's a cycle, but it starts with you. It starts with showing up, not shrinking back. It starts with saying, this may be hard, but I've got more in me than I'm giving. The truth is, you won't always be in control of your circumstances, but you are always in control of your response. Will you respond with energy or with excuses? That's the daily question. That's the difference maker. And that's what separates those who talk about success from those who live it. So the next time your mind starts offering you an excuse, interrupt it. Replace it with movement. Replace it with focus. Replace it with action. That's how you take back your power. That's how you lead yourself to a life that you're proud of. Energy, not excuses. That's the mindset that moves mountains. Number 8, be proud of what you control. There are so many things in life that are completely out of your hands. You can't control how people treat you. You can't always control the outcome of your efforts. You can't stop every obstacle or predict every twist in the road. But what you can control, what always belongs to you, is your attitude, your mindset, and your effort. And that's more than enough to change your life. Too often, we get caught up in the things we don't control. We stress about other people's opinions. We worry about timelines, outcomes, and the unknown. And while we're busy obsessing over what we can't influence, we neglect what we can. That's where frustration grows. That's where we start feeling powerless. But when you shift your focus to what's in your hands, you take your power back. You may not control how the day starts, but you can control how you respond. You may not control how someone talks to you, but you can control whether you react emotionally or respond with calm. You may not control how quickly results show up, but you can control how consistently you work. That's what matters. That's what builds real confidence. The kind that isn't shaken by external chaos. Be proud of what you can control. Be proud of your discipline, even if no one sees it. Be proud of your effort, even if the results take time. Be proud of your patience, your growth, your willingness to show up when it would have been easier to give in. You don't need everything to be perfect around you to feel peace within you. You just need to know you're doing the best with what you've been given. And that's where real power comes from. It's not about having control over the world. It's about having control over yourself. When you stop trying to micromanage the uncontrollable, you find freedom. You stop blaming, you stop complaining, and you start building. You rise, not because life is easier, but because you're stronger. This mindset won't always be easy. You'll have moments of doubt, days when it feels unfair. But remind yourself, this is your ground. This is where your responsibility lives. And the more you own it, the better your life becomes. Because life will keep changing. People will keep shifting. But your choices, those are yours. And no one can take that away. So walk with pride, not because life is perfect, but because you are showing up with purpose. Be proud of what you control. Let your character be louder than your circumstances. When you own that truth, you stop being a victim of life, and you start being the author of it. That's where strength begins. And that's where success is built, from the inside out. Number 9. Good days or bad, show up anyway. There's something powerful about a person who shows up. Not just when they feel good, not just when things are easy, but especially when life is heavy. The truth is, anyone can be consistent when the sun is shining. But character is revealed on the stormy days, when motivation is low, when doubt creeps in, when nothing seems to go right. That's when showing up matters most. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, I'll give my best when I feel my best. But that mindset leads to inconsistency, and inconsistency leads to regret. Because life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. The opportunity to grow, to become better, to move forward, that opportunity exists even on the tough days. Especially on the tough days. You won't always feel like giving effort. Some mornings you'll wake up tired, overwhelmed, discouraged. But those are the moments when your decision to show up becomes a statement. A statement that says, I don't just work when I feel like it, I work because I've made a commitment. And that kind of attitude builds unshakable strength. Showing up doesn't always mean performing at your highest level. It means doing what you can with what you have that day. It might not be your fastest run, your sharpest focus, or your most creative work. But it's honest, it's effort. And effort repeated over time creates excellence. This is how real growth happens. Not in dramatic bursts, but in quiet consistency. Brick by brick, day by day. Even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not glamorous. Every time you choose to show up on a bad day, you take power away from your excuses. You teach yourself that your feelings don't control you. Your principles do. That doesn't mean you never rest. It doesn't mean you push through at the cost of your well-being. But it does mean you don't disappear every time life gets hard. You adjust. You scale down if needed. But you keep going. You keep momentum alive. And that alone makes you different from most. Over time, those small efforts compound. The world sees the success. But you'll know, it was built on the days you almost didn't show up, but did. It was built on persistence, not perfection. So don't wait for the perfect mood. Don't depend on inspiration to move you. Build the habit of showing up, no matter how you feel. That's how you separate yourself from the average. That's how you rise, not by always having good days, but by refusing to let bad ones stop you. Keep showing up. That's the real victory. Number 10, raise your standards, not stress. There's a powerful difference between pushing yourself to grow and punishing yourself for not being perfect. Growth requires high standards, but it doesn't require constant self-criticism. In fact, if you want to become your best, you need to hold yourself to a higher standard without letting that standard destroy your peace. Too many people think being hard on themselves is the same as being disciplined, but they're not the same. Discipline is rooted in self-respect. It says, I know I can do better, and I expect more from myself. Stress, on the other hand, comes from self-rejection. It says, I'm not good enough unless I meet an impossible standard right now. That kind of pressure doesn't produce greatness. It produces burnout. You can raise your standards without raising your stress levels. You can demand more from yourself while still being kind to yourself. That's where real power is born. When you push with purpose, not punishment. When you challenge yourself, not because you hate who you are, but because you believe in who you can become. Raising your standards means showing up with excellence, even when no one's watching. It means giving your best in the little things. It means refusing to settle for average, not because you're chasing perfection, but because you know what you're capable of. And every time you meet that standard, even in small ways, your confidence grows. But don't confuse that with being perfect. Your best today might not look like your best tomorrow. Life is dynamic, energy shifts, emotions fluctuate, and on some days, giving 60% of what you have might actually take 100% of your effort. That still counts. That's still winning. Because it's not about matching an external bar, it's about meeting your potential with what you've got that day. When you live with high standards, people will notice. They'll see how you carry yourself. They'll notice your consistency, your habits, your effort. But more importantly, you will notice. You'll walk taller. You'll speak with more clarity. And you'll start to build a reputation with yourself. One that says, I don't slack. I don't cheat myself. I bring quality to everything I do. And when setbacks come, and they will, you won't collapse. Because you're not building your life on emotion or hype. You're building it on personal excellence. One standard, one choice, one disciplined act at a time. So yes, raise your standards. Expect more from yourself. Push further, aim higher. But do it from a place of belief, not burnout. Don't let stress steal the joy of becoming your best. High standards elevate you. Stress breaks you down. Choose wisely. Choose strength. And most of all, choose to grow with grace. That's how you move forward, with pressure that refines, not pressure that destroys. Number 11, don't chase approval, chase integrity. One of the greatest traps in life is trying to be liked by everyone. When you live to please others, you start shrinking who you are just to fit into who they think you should be. You compromise your values for their validation. You hold back your truth for their comfort. But the more you chase approval, the more you lose your identity. And the truth is, no matter how much you try, you'll never win everyone's applause. That's why you must stop chasing approval and start chasing integrity. Integrity means living in alignment with what you know is right, even when it's unpopular, even when it's misunderstood. It means doing the right thing, not for credit or praise, but because it's a reflection of your character. And when you live with integrity, you gain something far more valuable than approval. You gain self-respect. You see, approval is temporary. One moment they cheer, the next they criticize. It's unstable. It's shallow. But integrity, that lasts. It stays with you in quiet moments, in tough decisions, in moments of doubt. It becomes your compass when life gets noisy. And it keeps you grounded when you're tempted to bend for attention. The people who are truly respected in this world aren't the ones who tried to make everyone happy. They're the ones who stood firm. The ones who said what needed to be said. The ones who acted with courage, even when it wasn't easy. That kind of living doesn't require a stage. It just requires conviction. When you stop needing everyone's approval, you free yourself to live boldly. You start speaking your truth. You start doing what's meaningful instead of what's popular. And in that space, you become powerful, not because people clap for you, but because you're no longer controlled by them. Let's be clear. This isn't about being rude, arrogant, or dismissive. It's about being authentic. It's about knowing your values and not trading them for applause. It's about doing your best work, giving your best effort, and walking away with peace, whether or not anyone notices. That's what integrity gives you, peace. And over time, people will notice. They'll see you're not easily swayed, that you stand for something, that you don't need approval to be excellent. And ironically, that's what earns real respect, not the loud approval you chased, but the quiet admiration you earned. So from this day forward, choose integrity over popularity. Choose values over validation. Be proud of who you are, not because people approve, but because you didn't compromise your standards to earn it. That's how you build a life you're proud of. Not by being liked by everyone, but by being honest with yourself. Keep chasing that. That's the real win. Number 12. You're competing with who you were yesterday, in a world obsessed with competition. It's easy to believe that your success depends on being better than someone else. But the truth is, the only real competition that matters is the one staring back at you in the mirror. You're not here to outrun your friends. your coworkers, or your neighbors. You're here to outrun yesterday's version of yourself. That's the only race worth running. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be better than you were. A little more focused, a little more disciplined, a little more honest. That's the mindset that leads to real progress. Because when you compete with others, you measure yourself by their pace, their wins, their path. But when you compete with yourself, you take back control. You define your own progress, your own growth, your own milestones. And here's the powerful part. You'll never run out of room to grow. There is always another level. Always a way to improve. Always something to sharpen, to learn, to refine. You'll never be done evolving, and that's a good thing. It means there's no limit to how strong, wise, or focused you can become. Some people waste years trying to keep up with others, constantly comparing their progress and feeling defeated. But if you stop and shift your focus inward, you'll realize something important. You're actually doing better than you think. If you're more patient than you used to be, more focused, more disciplined, that's growth. That's winning. Maybe it's not flashy. Maybe it's not something you can post about, but it's real. And real growth is what builds a real life. This mindset also keeps you grounded, because on your worst days, you're not comparing yourself to someone else's best. You're simply asking, can I be a little stronger than I was yesterday? That's manageable. That's powerful. And that's sustainable. It's a mindset rooted in self-respect, not self-doubt. So how do you do it? Simple. Track your habits, not your hopes. Focus on your effort, not just your outcome. Reflect each night. Did I grow today? Did I make decisions that align with the person I'm becoming? If the answer is yes, even just a little, then you're on the right track. And don't underestimate the compounding power of small daily improvements. 1% better every day may not seem like much, but over time it transforms your entire life. You don't need to leap forward every day. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not go backward. So stop trying to be better than everyone else. Just be better than the person you were yesterday. That version of you, the one who doubted, hesitated, procrastinated, deserves to be left behind. Compete with that person. Beat that version of you. And keep doing it every single day. That's how you grow. That's how you win. Number 13. Turn obstacles into opportunities. Obstacles aren't the enemy. In fact, they might be the greatest gifts life can hand you. If you know how to see them the right way, every struggle, every setback, every challenge that stands in your way isn't there to break you, it's there to build you. It's a test, a teacher, a turning point. But most people see an obstacle and immediately stop. They take it as a sign that they're not ready or not capable, but you're different. You have to be. You see, life doesn't hand out strength, it reveals it. And the only way to discover how much strength you truly have is by facing something that demands it. That's what obstacles do. They demand your growth. They force you to rise. And in the middle of that pressure, you find parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. Think about it. Every powerful story, every great comeback, every person who inspires you, what's at the center of it? A struggle, a season of pain, a wall they had to break through. Without the challenge, there's no transformation. Without the problem, there's no breakthrough. You don't become your best in comfort. You become your best when life pushes you to adapt, to think differently, to dig deeper. The obstacle is not the end. It's the beginning of a new version of you. It's an invitation to develop new skills, to grow tougher skin, to expand your thinking. And when you stop seeing your challenges as problems and start seeing them as training, everything changes. You go from feeling like a victim to thinking like a warrior. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Of course it won't feel good in the moment. Challenges never do. They test your patience, your confidence, your resilience. But if you can endure, if you can lean in instead of backing off, you'll find strength you didn't know you had. And once you've walked through that fire, nothing small can shake you again. This mindset doesn't just make you tougher, it makes you unstoppable. Because once you realize that obstacles are actually opportunities in disguise, you stop fearing failure. You stop hesitating when things get hard. Instead, you step into the challenge, knowing that whatever it is, it's making you stronger, wiser, sharper. So the next time life throws a problem in your path, don't shrink, don't stall. Look that obstacle in the face and say you picked the wrong person to stop. Use it, grow through it. And once you've come out the other side, you won't just be the same person who started the journey. You'll be someone better, someone stronger. That's what turning obstacles into opportunities is all about. Number 14, finish what you start. Starting is easy, it's exciting. It's filled with energy, motivation, and dreams of what could be. But finishing, that's where most people fall short. They start the workout plan, the project, the business idea, the new habit. But somewhere along the way, the energy fades and the excuses take over. And that's the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. It's not about who starts the fastest. It's about who finishes, no matter what. You see, the world is full of unfinished work, half-written books, abandoned goals, forgotten resolutions. Not because people didn't have the talent or the time, but because they didn't have the grit to keep going when it got hard, boring, or inconvenient. But if you want to build a life you're proud of, you must make a habit of finishing, even when it's uncomfortable, even when the excitement disappears. Why? Because every time you finish what you start, you train your brain to believe you're dependable. You build self-trust. You create mental toughness. And that's what separates winners from dreamers. Follow through. Not talking about it, not planning it to death, but actually seeing it through to the end. It doesn't matter how small the task is. When you make it a standard to finish, you build a reputation with yourself. And that reputation becomes your foundation. You stop needing motivation because you've built momentum. And momentum, once created, starts to carry you through the days when discipline is all you've got. Now, finishing doesn't always mean perfection. Sometimes finishing means closing the chapter and learning from it. Sometimes it means saying, this didn't turn out how I planned, but I gave it everything I had. That still counts. That still builds character. Because the goal is never just to complete something. The goal is to become the kind of person who doesn't quit on themselves. So the next time you feel like quitting, remind yourself why you started. Reconnect with the purpose behind the process. Don't let temporary emotions dictate permanent decisions. You started for a reason. Honor that. See it through. Push past the urge to walk away when it's easier to check out. Because when you do finish, the feeling is unmatched. It's not just pride, it's proof. Proof that you're someone who follows through. And once you've built that identity, everything changes. People will trust you more. Opportunities will open, and more importantly, you'll trust yourself more. You'll stop second guessing and start acting with confidence. Because deep down, you'll know whatever you begin, you have the strength to finish. So start strong, yes, but finish stronger. Finish even when it's hard. Finish when no one's watching. Finish because that's who you are now. A finisher, not a quitter, not a maybe. Someone who completes what they commit to. That's the kind of person who wins, not just once, but for life. Number 15, rest without guilt. Rise with purpose. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, where people wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. But let me be clear, rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. Just like your body needs sleep to recover, your mind and spirit need intentional pauses to reset. Rest isn't the opposite of effort. It's part of giving your best. The problem isn't that people rest. The problem is that many feel guilty when they do, as if stopping for a moment means they're falling behind. But in reality, strategic rest is what keeps you strong, focused, and resilient for the long haul. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't lead, build, create, or grow if you're burned out from running at full speed every hour of every day. Even machines overheat when they don't get breaks. What makes you think you're any different? The difference between those who succeed and those who crash isn't who works harder, it's who works smarter. And working smart means knowing when to push and when to pause. But here's the key. Rest with intention, not avoidance. Don't confuse rest with escape. Rest should renew you, not numb you. It's not about checking out, it's about checking in. About asking yourself, what do I need to return stronger? Maybe it's sleep. Maybe it's solitude. Maybe it's a walk outside or an hour disconnected from noise. Whatever it is, give yourself that space without guilt. Guilt turns rest into anxiety. It robs you of the very benefits you're trying to gain. You sit down to breathe, but your mind keeps running. You try to relax, but you're haunted by unfinished tasks. That's not rest. That's torture. So let it go. If you've been giving your best, you've earned the right to pause. And if you haven't been at your best lately, Rest might be exactly what you need to get back there. And when the time comes to rise again, do it with purpose. Don't drag your feet. Don't dread the work ahead. Rise with gratitude, with energy, with focus. Because now you're not rising from burnout. You're rising from restoration. You're stepping into your day with clarity, not chaos. With strength, not stress. That's what rest does. It doesn't slow your progress. It prepares you for it. So honor your effort by honoring your recovery. Don't let culture trick you into thinking non-stop movement equals success. It doesn't. What matters is sustainable progress, the kind that's built over time through a balance of discipline and recovery, action and reflection. Rest when you need to, not because you're lazy, but because you're committed to lasting growth. Then rise with intention, step forward with power, and show up as the best version of yourself. Not because you ran yourself into the ground, but because you understood this truth. Real strength knows when to stop and when to rise again. So here we are, 15 powerful truths that remind you of something most people forget. Doing your best is more than enough. Not someone else's best. Not society's definition of success. Yours. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to show up, give effort, and keep growing from where you are. That's the formula. That's the path. You've learned that success isn't found in grand moments, but in the daily choices, the quiet consistency, the small disciplines, the effort you bring even when no one's watching. You've seen how your attitude, your habits, your mindset, and your energy shape your future far more than your circumstances ever will. And above all, you've been reminded that your journey is yours to run, not to compare, not to rush, but to own. So take what you've heard today and apply it. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel like it. Now. Start where you are. Keep making progress. Do the small things with care. Let your effort become your identity. And don't chase perfection. Chase purpose. You'll never regret giving your best, but you will regret the times you held back because you were afraid it wouldn't be enough. Remember, this world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs the present version. The one who chooses discipline over distraction, action over excuses, integrity over applause. That's the person who changes things. That's the person who becomes unstoppable. So walk away from this message with one powerful truth planted deep inside you. When you consistently do the best you can, you become the kind of person who earns respect, not just from others, but from yourself. And when you respect yourself, your entire life changes. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to feel ready. All you need is the willingness to show up again and again and give what you've got, heart, focus, and full intention. That's what moves you forward. That's what makes you powerful. So go, step into today with purpose, show up fully, and no matter what comes your way, do the best you can. That's more than enough.